I don't want to see this on your MySpace page. Please, no gang signs. No, throw it up, I'm kidding. Yeah, peace. I love peace.
Iron Man is one of the crowning achievements of Marvel Comics. With uncountable comic books based on the character, it only made sense to expand it into the movie business. Under the brilliance of Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man came to life and gained millions of fans. But with a history as rich as the comics provide, it's to be expected that the movies are full of references to the Marvel world. So today, we're going to look at some of the best Easter eggs that the creators dropped in the Iron Man franchise for fans to pick up. But first, a simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We're giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's all your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter this giveaway. It's really that simple. First up on the list is one of the most noticeable references to Iron Man's history. The casino scene that establishes Tony Stark as a millionaire playboy features the original music from the Iron Man cartoon that played in the 1960s. The movie did have its own original soundtrack, but still played off in its past. While only diehard fans may have spotted this one, it was still a pretty massive nod to the character's lineage. Oh, and also, the game being played at the craps table during the scene would actually have been the one that Tony wins, had the scene shown the completion of the round. Another direct use of older Iron Man music is seen in Rhodey's ringtone when Tony calls him. This tune is the theme song from the 1966 Iron Man cartoon. Pretty cute to have a unique ringtone for your best friend, isn't it? Iron Man 2 also features an original song made for the film by artist Ghostface Killah. This adds up since Ghostface's first album was also called Iron Man. We only wish that the singer's cameo appearance in the movie hadn't been cut out in the final film. Nick Fury's first appearance in the Iron Man movie begins with its reference to many other Marvel superheroes. The character says, "As if gamma accidents, radioactive bug bites, and assorted mutants weren't enough," referring to the Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, and the X-Men respectively. Given that their meeting also included hints that the Hulk exists in the same timeline, as well as mapping out the Avengers universe, it's safe to assume that at least rough plans for future movies of the Avengers had been kept in mind during the making of Iron Man. Another throwback to Iron Man's past is Jarvis. Tony Stark's AI assistant is named after the character's butler from the original comics. Jarvis also brings in his own little Easter eggs. For instance, the sound made inside the Iron Man helmet when Tony flies around and focuses on his surroundings draws on sounds from old-time video games. Games like Space Invaders 2 had their music act as inspiration for Jarvis's protocol. This likely points to Tony Stark's quippy personality even when he's out saving the world. Did you know that the voice actor for Jarvis was described to be emotionless and without character? Not the best description to hear as an actor, but we're sure Paul Bettany was happy to be cast anyway. The end credits of the Iron Man movie feature blueprints for the War Machine suit, which makes an appearance in the following films. Again, a lot of fans caught on thanks to Iron Man's dedicated viewers. While Rhodey does look at the suit in the first movie and says, "next time," the actor never gets to put the suit on as the role was recast for the sequel. Can't speak for him, but we sure would hate to miss out on the chance to wear a power suit. Also, every suit in the movie was designed by the artist who drew for the Iron Man comics, Adi Granov. The 43-year-old artist was consulted to ensure that the movie stayed true to the source comics as much as possible. This proved to be a wise decision. The suits in the movies are pretty much entirely the same as those in the comics. The first ever gray steel suit Tony makes to escape the terrorist organization in the Middle East was made to mimic the first suit in the comic. Even the final suit was temporarily completely yellow like in the comics. This lasted a few seconds before he added the hot rod red, resulting in the red and gold Iron Man suit that has become his signature. Another set of Easter eggs in the movie revolves around the villains in the comic series. Whiplash, a villain who appears in Iron Man 2, was referenced back in the first movie as the name of the fighter jets that attempt to figure out what the newly airborne Iron Man is. This happens right after the iconic fighting scene that establishes Iron Man as a superhero in the Middle East. Several other villains from the Iron Man comics make an appearance in some capacity in the movies. Some of these villains include the Mandarin, who became a more comical character in the film franchise, as well as Billboard depicting Fing Fang Foom in the Iron Man miniseries. The comic representation of the Mandarin didn't sit well with fans who had read the comics, so the character made an appearance in other Marvel movies to make up for it. The Mandarin is also referenced in the first movie as the name of the terror cell that kidnaps Tony Stark. This cell is named the 10 Rings, after the 10 magic rings that the Mandarin draws his powers from. Since the creators of the movie weren't sure where there would be sequels, they decided to pay homage to the villain by the name, but little did they know that there would be several sequels and a spin-off into the Avengers series. Books, movies, cartoons, and a miniseries. The Iron Man franchise is pretty much an empire which links up within itself, and fans love it. The movie also drops Easter eggs that draw on the world outside of Marvel. In a quick montage of his past, we see an old photograph which shows a young Tony Stark working and building computers with a young Bill Gates. Another real influence is Tony Stark's alma mater, MIT. While the billionaire superhero is not the most enthusiastic about the commitments he makes with MIT, it may be where he met his best friend Rhodey. In the first movie, Rhodey is seen wearing an MIT class graduation ring, an Easter egg that most fans may have missed. We would have loved to see more details of their backstory and friendship, but oh well. Another real-life device referenced in the movie is the Blackbird jet, whose altitude record Tony tries to beat in Iron Man 1. The machine also serves as an inspiration for the X-Men's jet in the movies and comics. However, the frosting faced by Tony Stark at high altitudes was actually opposite of the problem the actual SR-71 Blackbird faced. In reality, the jet overheated and expanded when flying too high, leading it to leak fuel and pose a threat. Obadiah may be one of the most memorable villains in the Iron Man franchise. Still, actor Jeff Bridges' most iconic role remains the dude from The Big Lebowski. To honor his career, there are a few Easter eggs in the first Iron Man movie. The weapons that Obadiah sent to the terrorist cell went on a ship named Lebowski, and the details of the transaction in the fine print featured a lot of lines from the older movie. And it pays to remember that pretty much the entire movie would have been spoiled if only Tony Stark had picked up some Urdu in his travels. The whole evil plot by Obadiah is discussed by the bad guys right in front of Tony when he was kidnapped. However, since the exchange happened in Urdu, Tony had no idea. The movie also brought in a bit of fans' work towards the end. Before Tony becomes the first superhero to openly share his identity as Iron Man at a press conference, he is seen with Pepper reading a newspaper. This paper's front page features a grainy photo of Iron Man with the heading, "Who is the Iron Man?" The photo in the paper is actually a screen cap from a video taken by some fans who were hiding on the sets during the filming of the scene. The quality and angle on the screen cap lent just the right amount of authenticity, allowing the photo to look like it was, in fact, taken by a bystander. We're sure the fan who took the video was ecstatic to be featured in the movie. While Tony Stark is gearing up for his first mission as Iron Man to rescue people in Yinsen's town Gilmira, we see a small reference to another superhero in the background. As he's being dressed in the suit, the scene features what seems to be a prototype for Captain America's shield in the background. While it was obscure, a surprising number of fans noticed a little Easter egg. This led to the shield being brought back in Iron Man 2 and possibly led to the many movies revolving around the two superheroes and their relationship, from this tiny detail to their alliance in the Avengers, and finally to an entire movie in the Civil War. The equation between Iron Man and Captain America is one that has captivated Marvel fans for years. However, the first mission was vastly different in the original comic by Stan Lee and Larry Lieber. It initially features Tony Stark being kidnapped by communist Vietnamese guerrilla forces. But as times changed, this was then updated to the Gulf War and later to the conflict in Afghanistan, which is what the movie picked up. And finally, we can't end a list references in any Marvel movie without adding a nod to the appearances made by comic book legend Stan Lee. Spotting Lee is pretty much the best and funniest pastime when watching Marvel movies. In Iron Man, he makes appearances in all movies, while channeling Hugh Hefner and Larry King in his cameos. Fans know that all Marvel movies drop interesting little Easter eggs for their fans, especially since the Marvel universe is so intricate and interconnected. But it takes a superfan to truly identify each and every detail in the movies. The beloved character deserves all the spin-offs that he has inspired, and fans will watch anything that he features in. The success of Iron Man is meteoric, while fans lining up outside theaters for hours before every release. While this is a relatively exhaustive list of secrets in the Iron Man movies, no list can ever be complete. Which of these did you know before? And are there any Easter eggs we may have missed out on? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, that wraps up the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.